How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to TheBlueShifting and welcome back to Sunrider 4. It's been fun. Been really good to get back to, and now we're like really kicking off the story officially. Also, I kind of did some thinking, and first off, thank you for comments. Those of you who left some, gave some good points about some of the combat sequences, and also helped me understand a bit about some of the mechanics, which is really handy. Obviously, I don't want spoilers, but if you do have a suggestion of something, it'd be nice to hear from it. But mostly, let's just enjoy the story together. That's why I'm here. And the gameplay's already been exciting, and I do enjoy it, but the story is why I'm really here. But as far as the combat goes, I think I also made another kind of decision. It's pretty clear that, and I kind of remember this mechanic from the second game as well, and I think even the first game, the money that you need to upgrade stuff, that gets really important, and it's one of those snowballing effects that can become really bad. So there's a good chance in the future that even if a combat goes relatively well, if I lose 1 or 2 units, I'll probably just restart the fight, because at that point I would be taking a loss that will slowly eat away, and it's a compounding type of loss. Now, for our first fight, I did lose one rider, and I kind of accepted it because, you know, I need to learn that lesson. And part of that learning that lesson is going to be, I'm going to be a lot harsher on myself and have higher expectations. I'm not going to be able to get out of battle scot-free. These early fights I should be able to pull off without losing anybody. If I do, I should probably restart them. As the game goes on, I know it's going to get a lot harder because, like, I remember, especially the second game, there were fights that I barely could scrape by, and that was with all the cheesy strats I could pull out of my butt. So I think I'm going to be really careful, especially early on, because every dollar or credit is going to count. I'll need every upgrade I can get my hands on if I want to be able to, you know, kind of play and enjoy whatever is at the end of the game. Because I remember end game fights from the first 2 games. They are, well, first 3 games technically. They're something else. It is insane. So I'm not going to be playing around with that. I'm going to make sure I'm ready. Other than that, we're just going to be jumping into the story. I had some fun thoughts though. I remembered specifically with the mechanic of, like, when you do a melee attack, you go through the opponent's square. It makes me think that Icari is going to be one of the most fun characters because her rider always specialized in close combat and speed. It made her a bit of like a, you know, a glass cannon, but she always was doing really solid damage. And so it makes me wonder if she's going to have the ability to maybe minimize her melee strike energy cost, because then I'm imagining a scenario similar to like checkers, where you line up your opponent's pieces just right and you can just kind of go hop, 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 hop. I could see her being able to do like a multiple attacks as long as the melee, like the post movement from a melee strike lends her in range of another melee strike. She could do these zigzagging patterns across riders across the battlefield, which sounds really fun. Downside to that would be that it would absolutely put her in a very unoptimal position. So while they might be fun, if I don't play my cards correctly, I imagine I could easily get her killed. But at least I'm going to try it, even if I have to, you know, reverse time in order to save it. But it's going to be fun. I really hope she has a mechanic that allows me to play with that a bit, because I'd love to make sure to emphasize that role a lot. Anyway, moving on. I'm thinking way too far ahead. We don't even technically know if Icari's in the game, but she's in the title screen, so I'm sure she is. But anyway, let's get back into it, shall we? Captain's log. It's been 24 hours since we destroyed the Pact base in orbit around Ruvia Prime. As expected, there's no sign of any Pact retaliation on the planet. Either the base was too remote for Fontana to care about, or they didn't want to deal with the political fallout of conquering Ruvia Prime for the second time. I've just barely started settling into my new command. Everything's changed from before, and without Ava to organize the ship, I'm left in an overwhelming sense of confusion. I've missed so much in the past 6 years. Where is everyone now? What has happened while I was trapped in Tidaria? I have so many questions, but with so many more pressing issues, I haven't had the time to get answers. Ava, gotta try and find her again. The ship needs her right now, more than anyone else. End log. I want Ava too. She was my favorite character. I've been so busy figuring out how to captain the ship that I couldn't ask Asaga anything about what happened while I was gone. Maybe I can find her in the mess hall. Oh, they do have this. Okay, so I guess they did have a mechanic in the second game where you had like different places you could explore. So there's the bridge, flight deck, looks like it's the research room, especially engineering, and then you have the character tokens, means you can have an interaction. And if I recall correctly, you have a limited amount of interaction time usually. Like sometimes you have like unlimited, so you can go visit everybody, but then other times you only get like a selection, and after a few, you are done. Also, I found this handy button. I was also talking about in the intro, like, I'm pretty sure Icari's in here. Actually, there's proof, because you can click this button here, and you can look at these relationships, heart icons. I don't know if there's like an actual dating mechanic in this game, or if it's just like, you know, essentially bonds. Cause like it plays, it played the game where like the typical protagonist, everyone loves the captain, but up until this point, there's been a canon romance path. So I'm not sure if there's going to be like a continuation of that theme, or if you actually have a romance option, or if it'll all be kind of, you know, chaff in the wind. But still, these hard events will be pretty fun, and it looks like you can work on multiple at the same time. So again, I don't know if that means much. So yeah, like we have our 3 characters here that we have initially, Asaga, Lynn. It's interesting that she has heart events, like, because she's super hostile to us. But I guess if you're into like I'm after a cute girlfriend who wants to step on me, I guess that could be for you. Sola, very fun. But then we also have Cosset, which again, why does she have heart events? That feels weird. Icari, Claude, and Ava. Oh, I want Ava back. She's my fave. Anyway, let's go talk to Asaga. Oh, Captain, you finally getting the hang of the ship now? Getting there. More importantly, I've got so many questions. Oh, by the way, I'm already seeing funny pictures here. So, we've got like art. Looks like a space race car. They have like a menu that looks like it has pictures of actual food in the menu, which is kind of fun. They have a news story with a blank face person and like stock go up meme. But then in the middle, that looks like a screenshot from their other game, the Idol game. So that's pretty fun. All right. I bet. What do you want to know? How can we contact the commander? I feel like I'm sitting on the bridge in my boxers without her. Well, the flagship of Revia Prime, isn't it? Like I said, the commander's the acting prime minister of Sarah now. We can't just ring her up on the diplomatic channel. Heck, you could have done that earlier right from your office. Oh, right. I didn't think it'd be that easy. I've checked the HoloNet now. I'm out of Pact's firewall, and sure enough, Ava's on the acting prime minister of Sarah, installed by Vensar Fontana himself. I wonder if she's not going to be available. That would be interesting, like for character growth wise, like Shields having to understand like actually running his own ship, because it was really Ava doing everything. He just was the charismatic leader. Now he was tactically minded. That was the whole point. He was meant to be a battlefield like specialist, like tactical specialist. But running his own ship, no. It was Ava the whole time. But why would he appoint an arch nemesis as prime minister? Ava never would have become his puppet. Okay, yeah, so we can get more about the situation of Sarah, which we're gonna do, but it's interesting that you can choose. It's not gonna be so easy to contact her. We need to contact the commander right away. Let's see. Tell me more about the situation on Sarah. Yeah, I think I heard the Chancellor say something about Sarah in his briefing, but I was kind of half asleep, to tell you the truth. Alright, you see, I haven't changed all that much. Fontana's installed the commander, now a renowned figure in the Syrian liberal movement, to give the upcoming elections the appearance of legitimacy. The acting prime minister is there only until the election, so it's not like she has any actual power, though. Still, with someone like the commander overseeing the election, people will accept the result. Whichever way it turns out. And you know, she is so honorable that she genuinely, even if she had the opportunity to try and rig the election to be what she wanted, she never would. So one of the reasons why Ava is a fantastic person, because, you know, she actually has standards. And if she were in a political, like, position, she'd be there because she felt like it was the best place for her to be to do the most good. I trust her. I trust her to the hilt. Sarah's ministerial election is the first time that the neutral rim world will hold an election after Fontana's announcement. If a candidate in support of joining Pact wins, then it's all but certain the other neutral worlds will follow in line. But just 7 years ago, Pact reduced Sarah City into a smoldering crater. We'd string up anybody who dares to run for Pact, much less drop off our ballots for them. Well, the thing is, the other guy's running under a pro-Solar Alliance platform, and the Alliance's reputation is basically garbage after the whole Tactical Paradox core business. Anyway, what's her name? The lady who's running the support for joining Pact? She's actually doing surprisingly well in the opinion polls right now. Mirage Foster, I think was her name. Well, with a name like that, you could totally trust that she's not completely like a front of some kind. Right now, she's telling everyone that by joining Pact, there'll be peace and equality for everyone, or some nonsense. What? I mean, so you mean Saren's our supporting Pact? Too bad your planet doesn't have a shard to protect the people from those shenanigans, Captain? A candidate from the Saren Prime Ministership running on a pro-Pact banner. And actually winning in the opinion polls. I must have fallen into a mining pit back in Tidaria and be delirious. I'm probably about to wake up any minute now.
Kancho?
Yep, feeling alright, Captain? They vaporized over 1 million innocents. Entire families were annihilated at our cultural sites. The places where I grew up.
Gomen, Kancho.
Then Cigara Fontana's blamed all the prototypes for all that, Captain. It's easy to shift the blame for the rare race of genetically engineered mutants. The prototypes are so desperate, despised that even Lynn needs protection, or else there'd be no telling what happened to her. Right now, Fontana's playing the role of the hero who leads humanity against the prototype monsters and the Solar Alliance pigmen. He's practically got the whole galaxy dancing on his palms. All the more reason we need the commander back on the ship. The only way I'll be able to find out what's happening on Sarah for sure is to find out Ava. I hope she's still alright out there. I also think, another thing too, like I thought, so we're so used to Pact being the villains, and they are going to be the villains. I think they're going to be the bad guys for probably at least the first half of the game. But we also know that probably the real threat is that the Crow guy, right? The guy from the ancient Rivian like background. He's a char who rose up against the other chars and like wanted to destroy Rivia's like empire, which essentially he did. So you know who might be willing to throw in their lot with a random char based on what they know of chars because they don't have any other options? It'd actually be the Alliance. What if the Alliance becomes the real big bad in this game? What if we kind of like lead this kind of pseudo-rebellion against Pact, and then in the middle of like our biggest fight before, the Alliance shows up with ancient char technology and Crow at their head? That could be quite a turnaround. Alright, it's not going to be so easy to contact the Commander Asaga. I have a feeling those diplomatic connections are probably not going to be safe. What do you mean? We can't just ring the line like to an acting Prime Minister of Sarah without certain security measures, even if we have access to the diplomatic channels. As soon as we call her, a whole bunch of red lights will turn on the nearest Pact intelligence office. It'll be a child's play for them to trace the call to us. You can bet Fontana has intelligence personnel listening to everything said in Ava's office, and I'll have to pass on sharing any information with those rats. Oh, I see. Nice one, Captain. You probably just saved us from Pact getting the drop on us. Oh, I wonder if that's an actual choice there, where if you just blunder in, they start with an advantage, where maybe they surround us. But now, because I like noticed that wasn't going to be as easy, it's going to give us like it's going to take away that advantage. If they actually play that out in the game, that's pretty fun. It seems a very binary choice, but the fact that the choices are actually having consequences immediately is really nice. I've kind of missed that. Like, I'm all for like narrative gameplay, and that tends to mean not a lot of choices because you want to have a specific narrative. It's harder to account for the branches that people might choose. But in a game like this, you can really explore that idea and let choices actually matter, which is fun. We're gonna need a security expert to figure out a way to scramble our transmission. Ah, is that Icari? It's either Icari, because Icari, like, she's really known for like the stealth tech stuff, or I'm trying to think of who else we could grab for that. I mean, Claude maybe, but she's like a space wizard. I don't know if that quite counts.
Kancho?
Man, where are we gonna find a crazy person like that? Luckily, I know just the person. All right. Oh yeah, Lynn. Duh. What did I know? Okay, so the flight tech, I'm guessing this is for upgrades. Let me see. Yeah, R&D. Yeah, so this is where I can just say like, oh, okay, I got some money. Let's put in some upgrades. Let's go to engineering.
Shields.
All right. I looked through the holonet and tracked down the mercenary of yours. She really must be something to be able to hack diplomatic channels. Honestly, I'd love to give it a crack myself, you know. We need Icari back if we're going to stop Crow Harbor, so we need to find her either way. Besides, I'm pretty sure it'd be a capital crime to let a prototype hack through the diplomatic transmissions. Be that way. Pretty sure I could crack any Pact listening device like an egg, but I guess some people are just so narrow-minded they can never negotiate. This This mercenary's somewhat of a legend anyway. She even had a fan club, mostly women. What's going on here? Sounds like we found her. It's like, yep, that's her. Anyway, word is that she's somewhere on New Kowloon Station, in orbit around Argasso. That narrow it down enough? It's a step in the right direction. Let me know if you find anything else. Yes, Captain. Right away, Captain, sir. Oh, the sass. He's like, well, wait. Why can we also talk to you
研
again?
究開発室へようこそ。
Delta, welcome to engineering. Can you tell me about the prototypes?
で、そのことだけど、
Ever since I cut myself off in the mind stream, I've lost all contact with them. This happened over 4 years ago, so what I've already told you before is the extent of what I know about the remaining prototypes. 4 years ago? So you're still connected to them for a while after I last saw you?
要するに、
After I so graciously pulled you out of the burning wreck of the Sunrider, I was held captive in a maximum security Ryuvian facility. Might have been hard to believe now, but the Queen of Ryuvia wasn't always so chummy with me. Well, I guess it's only expected. She hated me, just as you hate me now, Shields. Just as you and all humanity hates my kind. I don't think it was quite the same. Asaga was, like, Chigara's best friend. Chigara had been situated to be next to Asaga on purpose. Like, she was the original target for the prototypes to kind of bond, to keep an eye on, because he was a chare. But then that target switched to Shields because he was becoming such a political, like, pariah and an interesting target. So to feel that, so already Asaga felt betrayed and hurt because while she loved the captain chosen Chigara, and you know that was her best friend. So that was the whole argument in the third game, especially. Is like she's like, I want to be happy for her, but I can't be because I'm so mad because I want to be what she is to the captain, but I can't hate her because she's my best friend. And it was just such a frustrating tumult where her emotions were riding so high, but in two different directions. And then to have Chigara betray everybody, like even seeing Lin, who just looks just like her, you know, because they're built from the same entity, I guess. It would just be horrifying to have to try and like deal with those emotions, even if Lin's a different person. For 2 years, I felt echoes, distant rumblings of the mind stream. Something wasn't right. There was a conflict between two voices, something that shouldn't and couldn't happen. The mind stream was always one voice. We had always been united in purpose and mind, but I cut a deal with Asaga. I would cut myself off from the mind stream and divulge all the prototype's technology to Ryuvia. She would guarantee my safety.
それはまずい。
Because what I saw in the mind stream scared me, Shields. It scared me. More than the thought of being a prisoner for the rest of my life, more than the thought of being dissected by you humans in a lab.
良くない知らせがある。
Sorry, Shields? You're sorry.
あのさ、
For what I saw in the mind... Oh. For what I saw in the mind stream that day, whatever remained of your girlfriend's soul is completely gone. If you know what's good for you, you should forget any notion of reuniting with her again. Never cross paths with the prototypes ever again. See, she might be kind of telling the truth, but I don't 100% believe her. Or at least, I don't think the other prototypes are going to want us to believe that. And again, she makes it sound like that while Asaga is gone, like who and what she was is gone, she might have left a very strong impression on the rest of the mind stream. And unfortunately, that means they might all be obsessed with us, which is going to be horrifying. Chigara. At least that's what I've decided. That's why I pulled this thing over my head. I'm never going to meddle with the prototype's affairs ever again. How'd you win Asaga's trust?
で、そのことだけど、
That, I'm afraid that's something you humans would refer to as a long story. Trust me, back when I first arrived at Ryuvia, Asaga would have no issues with tying me up and tossing me out the nearest airlock, but she really needed a new ship built. You know, the ship that you started standing on right now. There was nobody in Ryuvia who could pull that off, except for me. You really are the worst, you know. Me?
だから聞け。
Listen, Shields, she hates my guts, but she was willing to set me free if it gave her a shot at getting you a new ship. And honestly, you really don't deserve that at all. You totally ignored her feelings, got googly-eyed at Chigara, and to top it off, it was you who decided to crash your ship in the first place. Don't you think you're a little... You know what? Never mind. Well, it was you prototypes that set me up in the first place. I figured you were going to point that out. Anyway, I suppose it was what changed Asaga's mind the most about me was a little quest to find the ancient fusion power stabilizer. Oh, that was a mess. Fusion power stabilizer. The FPS 9000 ACS. It regulates the outpost of Mare's two cores so that one half of the ship doesn't tear off from the other. Fortunately, the one we had burned out is centuries old, explaining why the twin drives couldn't operate at anything higher than 15% power. Luckily, we found in Review's records that another ship with identical parts was put in storage inside a forest moon facility halfway across the neutral rim, 400 years ago. But we couldn't pinpoint its precise location. To our great surprise, when we got there, the moon was populated by some really big beasts with a taste for man flesh. We also had a few run-ins with certain short-statured space pirate. Oh no, Asaga and I had overcome some serious trials on that moon, so they've been dealing with Cosset for ages. But somehow, after we returned to Revia Prime with the fusion power stabilizer in hand, we had become best friends. Sounds like you guys had quite the adventure. After that, Asaga made me an honorary Revian citizen and vouched for my loyalty, and that's the only reason why I'm still alive. Only reason you're alive? There were others trying to kill you? That Fontana beast pinned every single evil pact ever committed on the monstrous prototypes and their mad leader, Alice the Imposter. Pack's practically heroes now, while we're the prime evil. Well, I'm sure you would agree with the latter, though. My point is that, even on Revia Prime, there's a lot of people who wouldn't hesitate to put a bullet through my head if I happened to walk by on the street. Sounds like Lynn's been through a lot these past 6 years. Can't believe I missed all this. What were the prototypes like before the mind stream was corrupted? Figured you'd ask me this. Revia Intelligence was really curious about what I had known about the prototype leadership structure. I'm afraid it's somewhat of a moot question, though, since the prototypes of today are nothing like what I personally experienced during the early neutral rim war. To begin with, I was a pilot model. I was created for the purpose of flying a rider in battle. You mean the prototypes are created with specific roles in mind? Well, I mean, it's like cells of your body, right? Like, they can't all just be exactly the same. They might all contain the capacity for everything, but they can only be, like, properly talented and equipped for tasks based on the need. I'd say so. Of course, all prototypes are genetically enhanced with higher brain functions than humans. Still, we found it more effective to divide labor amongst ourselves, so we prototypes were born implanted with certain sets of skills based on our archetype. Some were born knowing how to influence humans, some were born with the power to fabricate unbelievable machinery, even by our standards. And some, like me, were born as top rider aces. So relax, Shields. I couldn't manipulate you if I tried, if it wasn't obvious enough. Since I was a pilot, though, I'm afraid I didn't participate much with our decision making. Still, when you're all connected in the mind stream, there was no me. We were all one. I know that amongst the prototypes there was the Alpha, our creator, and her sister Alice, the Strange. Strange? She kept her thoughts hidden to us. Now I know it was because of her plan to betray us all along. I knew nothing of her, because Alpha had entrusted all of us to Alice. We obeyed her. So Alice was your boss, but you knew nothing about her. Alpha gave us to Alice. It was not our place to question the Alpha. We did not know who Alice was or why we were placed under her. We merely obeyed. Interesting. So who is this Alpha? Where is she? So basically you were just a lowly worker drone in a hive mind. I suppose you could put it that way. Did you at least know anything about the Alpha? She was our creator, our queen. Is that all? It never occurred to me to find out much more when I was connected to the mind stream. I was already one with Alpha. From her radiated such warmth, I had no need to know more about the Alpha, as I understood from the moment I was born, until the moment I cut myself off from the mind stream, that her very existence was the only condition I needed to exist. My purpose was to fly my rider, that was all. It wasn't until It wasn't until after I put on this Q-jammer I gradually started to understand what you humans refer to as the self. When I was a prototype, there was no me, there was only us. I thought the question of the Alpha was inconceivable. I was unnatural as questioning our own existence. It would probably not be like questioning your own existence, but more be like questioning why you have a finger. It's like, you could think about it maybe, but it'd be silly to be like, I could just get rid of that. It's like, I mean, you can, but why would you? So in the end, Lynn was a soldier drone in a hive mind. She doesn't know anything about where Alpha came from or of Alice's motive. And tell me, was Chigara really a spy? She is the manipulation type, I think. Shields, I really don't feel like speaking sweet nothings to help you sleep better at night. I just want an answer.
Oi.
The prototype you knew as Chigara was a spy model, intended to infiltrate Ryuvia's government by winning the trust of Ryuvia's princess, Asaga. Spy models like her are born believing a cover story and seeing thousands of worlds across the galaxy, to become the eyes and ears of the mainstream. Was she snickering every night in front of a mirror, cackling how easy it was to manipulate you, Shields? Of course not. She had no clue she was even a spy in the first place. But make no mistake, whether she knew it or not, she was programmed to integrate herself into human society. She was designed to win your trust. Did it ever feel like she was surprisingly empathetic? That she understood your feelings, cared about you? I'm afraid she was created to do all that. Oh.
どうでもいい。
Spare me the long face, Shields. What, would you have preferred it if I said she was just an innocent victim in all this, who had nothing to do with the prototypes? Wake up and face the facts. I was blind to the fact that Chigara was a prototype, but did she really mean for the Liberation Day Massacre to occur, though? But was it your endgame for Chigara to cause the Liberation Day Massacre? Why did she betray us all? Don't ask me about what the endgame was, Shields. I was just a pilot, but to answer your question, no. The Alpha was deeply perturbed by what happened. It was Alice who assumed control of Chigara and assassinated Admiral Harold Gray, triggering the escalation of the Neutral Rim War. Oh, that's right! I forgot about that. So Alice had been, killed, but she just uploaded her consciousness to the Mindstream and then body-jacked Chigara. Chigara probably wouldn't have risen up against us if that hadn't happened. As for why Alice would do such a thing is beyond the knowledge of the prototypes and perhaps even Alpha herself. So in the end, the puppet master was always Alice. Alright, that's interesting. Before you leave, Shields. Lynn?
だから聞け。
I know you don't like me, but unless we work together, the ship's as good as sunk. Remember, you're absolutely not allowed to crash this one. Okay. Oh, hey, look! Okay, so we do get a hard event by doing this. Right.
おい。
I saw everything in the Mindstream. Well, I know what happened.
どうでもいい。
Silly humans and their notion of privacy. But I want you to know I'm not her. I have this thing on top of my head. It's not a prototype. Not anymore. This kind of talk really isn't for me. Let's just come back here whenever you need ship upgrades, okay? Don't forget to bring some credits, too. Yeah. Interesting. So am I allowed to have, multiple conversations? Like I said, these hard events, am I limited in the amounts I can do them? Am I only going to be able to get so many people to 10 rank? Or can I get everyone there if I take the time? Let's go to Sola. This pose. I don't know why her pose of looking back over her shoulder is so prominent for her. That looks like it can't be comfortable. Your injuries all healed up well?
はい。
Indeed.
リュービアで女王陛下の医者が治療してくれた。素晴らしい技量だった。
Interesting that this is voiced. Looks so. You look like a new woman.
館長はまだ治療を受けていないみたいだけど。
Me? Oh, well, I don't mind looking like this.
そう。
Sorry if the old man look is rough on your eyes.
いや、ただ、もう少し健康に気を配ってほしいと思う。
I mean, that's fair. That's a genuinely good thing for everyone to do. Don't worry, Sola. I'm not planning on keeling over anytime soon.
なんでしょう、館長。
Alright, tell me again about your war against Crow Harbor.
いいでしょう。
Very well. Given the situation, it seems prudent to review all that we know about Crow Harbor. Over 2,000 years ago, during my time, the Holy Reuven Empire was in the midst of a bloody civil war. Crow Harbor, the bastard son of the late emperor, claimed the throne against my father, Reuven de Ruvia, the second prince. The emperor and the first prince were assassinated with the detonation of a bomb, and my father was by law the rightful claimant to the throne. However, the emperor had also sired Crow Harbor with a minor Reuven princess, and the jealous bastard son had always lusted the throne. It was none other than Crow Harbor who had planted the bomb which killed the emperor and the first prince. Or so my father claimed, but in truth I knew him as the man exceptional only cruelty, and his daughter, the princess, was of the same ilk. She proved too cowardly to bring war upon Crow Harbor as the Chare of Ryuvia. She kidnapped me, an illegitimate daughter from a remote world of Farpoint, to play that role. Farport. I was baptized Sola de Ryuvia, declared the Chare of Ryuvia. Okay, So the chare is supposed to be like the warrior of royal blood because they can activate that ability. So the bomb that he blamed on Crow actually was more likely planted by him or his daughter. I wonder if that means Crow's actually the good guy, like, at least in his time. In all my interactions with him, my father was spiteful and a cowardly man. I loved him and believed it was him who actually planted the bomb which murdered his father and his brother.
神よ。
Despite my hate for my father, though, I became the Chare of Ryuvia with the greatest pride for my life. For the first time, I felt loved by trillions of Ryuvian citizens whom I defended. And so I gladly sacrificed my life when the moment came. We cornered Crow Harbor and his fleet in the mezzanine system. It was there I saw an opportunity to end the civil war once and for all. The flagship of the Ryuvian Empire, the Chare Lock, had an ultimate ability, the Final Tear. The ship could explode in a massive space-time explosion, obliterating all life within half a light-year radius. It was a weapon that could only be used with the payment of my own life. As I activated the Final Tear, I closed my eyes and was enveloped by light, and I thought the next sight I would behold would be the infinite meadows of heaven. Yet instead, I woke 2,000 years in the future. The sight which awaited me was not heaven, but the face of a woman who would later become the queen of the very same Ryuvia I once served. I do not know how I was sent here, but could Crow Harbor have been transported here as well, through the same mechanism which brought me here, albeit at a later time? A difference in arrival time of only a few years seems well within the margin of error for a mechanism that could translocate us thousands of years. That's all I know of this matter. The rest is merely speculation, colored by anxiety. Right now, it helps to have every single detail straight. Thanks for going through all that again, Sola.
はい。
Of course, Captain. I'll see you later.
聞いて。
Ah, lest I forget, Captain. There is a certain matter. Sola, something the matter?
そう。
Despite being assaulted by Crow's assassin drones, we know not what lies before us. Thus, I have taken upon myself to gather as much knowledge as I can regarding the lost technology from my time. Perhaps my familiarity with ancient Ryuvia can assist you in your latest quest. Alright. Lost technology. That's great news. We'll need all the help we can get. Alright. And Asaga.
やった
Hands in the air, like she don't care. Hey, Captain. How you doing? Oh, Asaga.
なんすか艦長
Something the matter? Not really. Just having a hard time believing that any of this is happening. Just a few days ago, I was living out in a trailer in the middle of nowhere, and now I'm here captaining the flagship of Ryuvia Kingdom. What's more, I've now been commissioned as an officer of the Ryuvian fleet by the head of state herself, which is you. Guess I'm working for you now, Asaga. Not much to look at, but I'll do what I can.
うーん。
Listen, Captain, I might be a queen now, but just treat me like Asaga, okay? That was a really short one. Spunk. I didn't make you captain on a whim. There's something we've been working towards for years. I might be head of state, but I'm leaving all decisions on tactical matters to you. I have great faith in your abilities, Captain. Really? But my track record as a good tactician, tactical decisions is pretty lackluster. I mean, if I had just listened to you and suspected Chigara more, we wouldn't be in this situation right now. Don't worry, past the past. Besides, I saw firsthand what you're capable of when you're in command of an assault carrier. There's no other person on Ryuvia Prime most suited for the job. Then, I won't let you down.
うっしゃ
Huh? I'm counting on you, Captain. Hey, now we settled the issue. You feel like feeling peckish or something? Ship's freshly stocked with all goods from Ryuvia Prime. You better dig in while everything's still fresh. I recommend Ryuvian Stew, level 10 spice. Ooh, it actually, I'm salivating a bit. I'm a little hungry. Spice sounds great. Yeah, let's hope the supply chains hold up. We don't have to eat nothing but basic rations once we're out of Ryuvia space. Please, Asaga, this is a pretty big issue for me. Don't suddenly change the subject and start talking about food. I'll do my best. First, we're gonna have to get the commander back on ship. Then we won't have to worry about running out of supplies.
なんじゃこりゃ
You got that right. We got a commander back to fill our acquisition forms, or else the real war might take place here in the mess hall. Sounds like I'm on the clock already. Let's get to work. I can't let Asaga down, not this time. Actually, I think I'll just grab the instant meal. I got work to do.
やった
Coffee. Here, take these spice packets. They really pack a punch. Thanks. All right, now we're done. We're upgraded. We talked to everyone. Let's go to the bridge. Time to start the next mission. Oh, interesting. So Ryuvia Prime is where we currently are, and then Argasso is like that 3 exclamation must be like the next mission indicator. All right, class 0 giant gas world, 300 squatters. An uninhabited gas giant world unclaimed by any galactic power. The Lotharian Mafia has made Asaga a hub for their booming black market operations. Built around a hollowed out asteroid caught around Argasso's gravity well, New Kowloon Station is cobbled together from various aftermarket components and copious amounts of duct tape. For the desperate denizens of the war-torn neutral rim, New Kowloon Station is a crucial source of goods, which are otherwise heavily rationed due to the neutral rim war. Operating outside the bounds of the law, New Kowloon Station attracts pirates, mercenaries, and the galaxy's scum and villainy in general. If you need a hired gun without questions asked, the station's canteen should be your first pit stop. Just be careful not to be scammed by the convent on your way there. Recruit Icari. If I'm gonna contact Ava and Sarah, I'm gonna need a security expert to scramble our transmission so we don't tip off PAC's intelligence department. My old friend Icari, Dolda should fit the bill. According to Talk the HoloNet, she's a regular at the New Kowloon Station in orbit around Argasso. And it's like, it's interesting it has like a check mark and like the beaker. I think it just means we're gonna, oh, that's what it is. Okay. So that's how we access the ability to do upgrades before we accept. We're here. New Kowloon Station's dead ahead.
気をつけるといい。聞いた話では、ロソリアンマフィアが裏でこの惑星を牛耳っているらしい。
Gotcha.
やだわ。あの最低な連中じゃない。
Alright. Does not be subtle about our references. Not subtle at all.
シールズ、どうやってあの傭兵の女を呼び戻すつもり？何千年も前のリュービア将軍が蘇って宇宙征服を目論んでいるなんて説明しても信じてくれなかろう。
I'd say it's more likely she'll just be fine with it based on the pact stuff, but at the same time, she's also seen such wacky stuff with us. I'm sure she wouldn't bat it. She'd be like, "What?" And she'd be like, "Oh wait, it's you." Of course, it would be that. That's a good question, actually. Icari's not Revia like Asaga or Sola. That's gonna take a lot more convincing her than Crow Harbors here in our timeline. Shoot, hostiles on intercept course. Red alert.
シールズ。
You again.
またあったな。
Cosset, didn't you blow up back at Revia?
貴様に復讐するために地獄から這い上がってきたぜ。っていうか、俺をストーキングしてるんじゃないよな。貴様はハーレムを作るために女を銀河中追いかけ回っているという噂を聞いているぞ。
Watch what you say, Cosset. My indications in the heart box over here say you're just as likely to join the harem. Just a coincidence, Cosset. I had no clue you were even here in the first place.
とにかくだ。ここであったが100年目。
Of course.
今日は貴様の命日だ、シールズ。
I figured as much. Knew you'd say exactly that.
野郎ども、やっちまえ。
Here we go again. A quick save. Now we don't need to do any research because we already did it, so let's engage. Alright, now that I know a bit better about how this all works, I think I feel more confident. Let's see how we play our hand, huh? Okay. Interesting. So, oh, I was gonna say, like, it doesn't seem like she's entered the field yet. And it still doesn't. She might deploy with new reinforcements. Alright, we got some new stuff going on too. For instance, our kinetic. We now have broadsides with 2 shots. That was one of the main upgrades I got. Was like the most expensive one. Otherwise, I'm just trying to do basic stuff. Like I think I gave Asaga more movement. Like reduces her movement cost.
貴様の機嫌取りなんか絶対にしないからね。
Lynn, I just need to keep her alive. I gave her more health.
アークエンジェル。
まだまだこれからよ。
Ow.
俺に喧嘩を売った愚かさを骨の髄まで分からせてやる。もう逃げられんぞ、シールズ。貴様の頭を部屋に飾ってやる。
Yeah, I should have known it was too easy. I didn't see her on the field. I was like, yeah. She's got a capital ship. She's right about us being a tactical disadvantage here. It's like roaches swarming out of a dumpster. We don't have to fight, Cosset. I'm not working for the Alliance anymore, and from the look of things, you're not with Pact either. There's no more money in fighting.
はあ？今さら交渉する気？貴様がオンゲスで何をしたかもう忘れたのか？
Recall, I saved your life. Figured it was worth a try.
手伝おうか？
Hey, there she is. Icari.
なぬ？こちらフェニックス。敵軍の真後ろに到着。
I liked Icari. She's one of my favorites. Confirmed. It's good to see you again, Icari. All wings rendezvous with the Phoenix and take those pirates out.
ラジャー。
Yep, there we go. Look at these three.
代々一騎で何ができる？皆殺しにしろ。
There she is. Alright, interesting. So let's see what she's
うちはこ
got,
の仕事をやってるのはお前でも
huh? Boost,
誰のためでも
extend,
ね。
melee combo.
誰のためだ。
Yes! I knew it! Okay, so cloak. That's pretty good, yeah. So what we're gonna do is we're going to maneuver this direction to get more, get closer, kind of like where we expect them to be, so we can line up with them and do some attacks.
フィニックス出動。ちょっと消えてくる。
There we go. Now we wait.
はい。
エンジン全開。
Oh, can I not? Huh. Why can't I attack here? I'm not sure why I can't do a melee strike here, but maybe I'm too close. Because her range is insane, so... it's like I'm gonna end up through here. Like, that's part of the problem. Okay. Well, I'll cloak for now.
サプライズをお届けする。
はい。
Since I just don't understand what I'm doing wrong there, but...
聞こえるよ。
Okay. I really want to try and make Icari work because I need to
Phoenix.
figure out how she does what she does.
エンジンを回せ。こっちも仕事だから。こっちも仕事だから。
Oh,
恨むなよ。
she combos wherever. Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. So the big white field is who she jumps to. So her jumping melee attacks weren't just like the checkers thing I thought you had to set up. It's just if you have fighters close in range with each other, they're toast with her. Oh, that's really cool.
3倍のツインテールで行くぜ。嘘、外れた。いや。
There we go. Sheesh. Finally.
あ。いいでしょう。ターゲット、ターゲ
There we
ッ
go.
ト、消滅。
撤退だ。役立たずのクズども。今回の目的はもう達成した。
Great. What did you want, Cosset? You came here for something?
ビーッ教えるわけないだろ。あばよシールズ。今度会うときは。
Wait, what? You'll rip my skin off and stitch it into your new pajama. I know.
ムカつく。
敵はもう撤退しているんだ。挑発してラウンド2を始める気か？
Wait, I can feel something happening. Oh no! Defeats Cosset to unlock new orders. God, I'm pretty rusty about being out of commission for 6 years, but after the scrap with Cosset, I feel like my old skills are returning. Maybe if I keep running into her, I'll be able to improve my captaining. Oh no, is she a Majima everywhere? Oh, so we purposely seek out fights against her. We'll boost our relationship with her and unlock abilities. That's so funny. Stand down, Red Alert. Looks like our pirate friend inadvertently spared us the hassle of searching around the station for our mercenary.
艦長くんがここへ向かっていたことなど前から知ってたぞ。リュービアにあるパクトの基地をめちゃくちゃにしたそうじゃないか。
Yeah, you're the best. Word travels.
到着。ドッキング許可を。
Absolutely. Permission granted. See you in a bit. I like her. She's great. She's probably my number 2 favorite character. Like, oh no, so like I really like Chigara, but we're kind of like graduating her. I really like Ava, and then Icari is probably like right there behind her. All right, so we took a little damage, but that's the thing is like even 105 to repair Asagas, which took a beating, is like it was 300 to repair a down rider, like just the down rider itself. So all in all, still really good. A pocket carrier, huh? And the flagship of the Revian Kingdom? Not quite as armored as our last command, but armed to the tooth. My kind of style. Welcome aboard, Moray. Been a while, Icari. Now, I'm sure. Welcome aboard the Moray. It's been quite a while, Icari. Now, I'm sure you want to know all about what's all about this. What all of this is about.
話でもしよっか。
Let me guess. It's about the ancient Revian warlord who arrived in the past to take over the galaxy, right? Well, that makes the discussion a lot easier. It's already the talk of the town. Your old pal Cosset Cosmos already came to New Kowloon to find the whereabouts of the lost Revian fleet. Hell, half the town's already gone to chase after it, and the other half's just arming up and hoping the first half will soften it up for them. How do you know all this? It's your turn to listen, Shields. While you were on Tideria, a lot of shit went down. The Alliance and Pact fought a bloody war here in the Neutral Rim, leaving a lot of folks desperate. You only saw the opening year of the war. What did I miss? The Solar Alliance wanted blood after the murder of Admiral Grey. They were on a high after their victories ever since Farport, the point of the overconfidence. They took the entire combined fleet deep inside Pact space to take the core world of Tethra and deal a final decisive blow to Pact, but it was all a trap. There's a new Pact High Admiral by the name of Emil Kushana. You heard of her, right? Kushana, the Many Miracles, a legend of the Compact Revolution and one of the founding members of Pact, but everyone knows she was banished to the Denari Outlands by Vizikar Arcadius, or by the prototype Alice. Vizikar Fontana rescinded her exile after the Liberation Day Massacre. He brought her back into service and made her the High Admiral, the Crimson Fleet, and in return she turned the war around for Pact. Kushana tricked the Alliance into thinking Pact fleet was amassing at Sarah when in fact they were hiding behind Tethra's moon. When the combined fleet warped into Tethra, they were caught entirely by surprise. The Alliance had no other choice but to attempt a long, bloodied retreat out of Pact space, all the way back to the Neutral Rim. She packed the combined fleet apart with every single direction of the whole time it retreated. By the time it made it back to a safe harbor, you couldn't even call it a fleet. By the way, I'm pretty sure Icari's supposed to be on the screen here. I don't know why she's not. But by now, both sides had staked their national manhoods in the war. The Alliance licked its wounds and rebuilt its fleets. Both sides enlisted the aid of the Neutral Rim wards and the promise of influence, or flat out just bought them. Proxy wars fought by various Neutral Rim wards with grudges against each other exploded left and right. Guess what? All that created an entire generation of young people willing to pick up a gun and blast the nearest fellow over a spilled drink. And then, out of nowhere, Armistice, the mighty Solar Empire Alliance humbled, the entrenched Farport, and Pact everywhere, acting all high and mighty as the victors in the Neutral Rim War. So here's where we are today, a bunch of bombed out worlds and desperate people, with a few remaining Neutral Rim planetary governments struggling to maintain order in their own space. Now let's say an ancient Revian fleet just happened to appear, lost in space and time. You think people are going to be scared by some ancient warlord's lord'll enslave them? No. They just had 6 straight years of the worst hell you can imagine. All they see is the biggest collection of lost technology you can get your hands on. A treasure fleet, ripe for plunder. Free money. I mean, that's fair, because every encounter these modern people have had with ancient Revian technology has been like, literally, like, someone found like a wrecked ship on a moon that's been sitting there for 1,000 years, and they kind of made it serviceable. The fleet that's just appeared was, like, at the time, combat ready. And they time skipped, so those fleets are going to be insanely strong. Crow's fleet. It's almost like a beacon of hope for the people here. If our last few run-ins with the lost technology were any indication, I'd say more than an early grave. But that doesn't stop the desperate from trying. And Shields, everyone here is desperate. But how did people even find out about the lost fleet? Has Crow made an attack? A scavenger searching for leftovers of what we blew up in the Mimosine Abyss happened to get a glimpse of a super dreadnought, unlike anything anyone's ever seen before. I've actually already met him, and the data tapes on his scanner module back him up. But really, most of the hypes come from this fortune teller who's been making the rounds around here. Claude. A fortune teller. It sounds crazy, but apparently she has a 99% success rate. Anyone who ever got their fortunes read by her swears she's always right on the money. Honestly, I think all that's bull, but she's been forecasting wealth and glory to everyone looking to go after the lost reunion fleet. She's honestly whipped the entire situation into a frenzy. I can't believe people are actually dumb enough to fall for that. Even so, this fortune teller sounds like our best lead. After all, fortune telling is based on information gathering. I better track her down. First things first, if we're going to stop Crow Harbor, I need to get my old crew back, including you and the commander. What? You mean the commander's not already with you? I've been trying to reach her, but packed as the Sarah and diplomatic line bugged. You suppose you could figure out a way to contact her? Sure. You need the quantum encryption mechanics, so Pact won't be able to snoop on your conversation. You know where we can get our hands on something like that? Who do you think you're talking to, Cap? I've already got one right here. What, you thought I was gonna send you on a fetch quest halfway across the galaxy or something? It does usually turn out along those lines, yes. I'm a professional here. Anyway, just about to head out myself in search of the lost fleet. Oh, look at that! Look at that! Huh. Since we're both heading the same direction, I guess I could come along in your new ship if you want. Just give me half your share of the loot. It's not because I like you or anything, though. Don't misunderstand. It's such an act. Good old Icari, somehow managing to make herself look cool and cringe at the same time. the facial expression. You can have all the loot you want. As long as we stop Crow Harbor, I'm glad to have you back, Icari. Oh, baby. That's fun. Interesting that we don't have any conversations here, but I think we're going to go ahead and stop there. This seems like a good breaking point, so we're going to go ahead and just take a breather. Got Icari back. I'm glad that her mechanic's even more insane than I expected. Pretty much just gives you an area of like, oh, it's also like there might be a limit to how many times you can activate it. So when I go to upgrade her ship next part, we might take a peek at that. And maybe there's only so many hops she can do. Because that's a button to extend it. Maybe you have to push that and then activate a melee attack if there's multiple targets, and it'll just go for it. Because like basically, I think what it's trying to avoid is if you did a melee attack, you did the jump around, you could end up throwing Icari into a really dangerous situation without any energy to cloak herself. And if that's the case, then you could be in big trouble. So it gives you that option to push the button that doesn't cost any energy, but gives you the chance to say like, hey, I do want her to go crazy, right? As opposed to like, hey, I want to have control of where she ends up when she's done. That would make a lot of sense, actually. In fact, I could see something like that being something they patched in after like doing some QA testing, where they realized like, hey, Icari's great, but I hate how, despite how weak she is, she's very difficult to protect and keep safe on the battlefield. So yeah, that's really cool. I like that a lot. The one thing I also wonder is like, can you activate her cloak and then attack, or would that destroy the cloak effect? Or is the cloak effect just a static effect as long as you have the energy to pull it off? Because then that one thing I could also see being very beneficial would be to, instead of investing in her defenses, what if we could make the cloak cost be really severely reduced and just kind of be careful with our maths and how we maneuver her? Because if we set her up for strikes but let her be cloaked the whole time, she wouldn't be in any danger and have to take damage. And again, that kind of comes down to this idea of like, can she cloak right after an attack, or can I cloak before and execute an attack and have it work? Like the cloak, I mean. It'll be interesting. I'll have to play around with that. But overall, that was a much better fight. I feel like I've got a better grasp on the mechanics. Another thing to make note of, that something I kind of forgot, but like always good to mention, is it looks like drifting happens whether you like it or not. So you can drift to, if you decide you're done with doing all your moving, and you can utilize the drift for the rest of your actions. But if you haven't used your movement, or if your movement has a set a new trajectory, when you end the turn, everything drifts automatically, which is interesting, the mechanic wise. I feel like the execution of it is actually really solid. I'm pretty impressed. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me today. Hope you enjoyed this setup as we're starting to get together our crew. Claude is absolutely that fortune teller, I guarantee it. And the way it's playing things out, it's almost making me think, do we get to choose if we go after the fortune teller or Ava next? Or is this all going to be like a kind of a reverse roundup where we're going to slowly gather people in the backwards order that we got them before? Besides Asaga and Lin/Chigara, because Icari was one of the last people who joined us last time, so now she's one of the first. So I wouldn't be surprised if we end up getting Claude next, and then going to get Ava last, with a full crew basically back. That's fun. I also kind of like how that reveal implies, like, I thought, oh man, Cosset must be on our team. No, I think this is just, like Cosset, like fighting Cosset as like our rival, the sworn enemy, it just makes us stronger as we go. And I wonder what the level 10 rank is. We're absolutely gonna go for it. If encountering her unlocks stuff, like I'm definitely gonna pursue her if I can. That sounds really fun. Anyway, enough rambling. Thank you so much for joining me. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Hope you enjoyed this episode. And until the next video, you're watching me. I hope to see me in next. I'll see you there.